quick shot, not even a quick shout out, but let's talk about this team for a little bit. The Grizzlies. They have been flat out amazing this season. I'm happy because we made a prediction about them that they're possibly the best young team in the NBA right now. We over the last couple of years, what they've accomplished. So one, Ja's rookie year, when we kind of thought they were going in this rebuild position, the post Mike Conley era or whatever, or that post Marc Gasol and post Grind City era, we thought they were going into rebuild mode. But Ja comes in, he ends up being rookie of the year, and they just missed the playoffs by a game. The bubble, the play-in, that entire thing, they lose to the Blazers in a really close down the stretch game. That was year one. Year two, they come back and they get all the way to the playoffs. They beat
Golden State.
They beat or they end up losing to Utah in that first round. But still, this is a young team that we thought was going to rebuild. First year it was a play-in loss. Second year we get to the first round. Now we look at this team and they're playing an amazing brand of basketball. They're sitting at the 4th spot in the Western Conference. This is the best they've been at this point in the season. Offensively, they've been amazing. And what's funny is like the contrast. We knew this team was so good defensively in the last couple of years. Defensively, they haven't been great, but offensively, they've just been amazing. And they started picking it up defensively during Ja's injury, and they've been decent since then. But they found an identity for themselves, and you really love to see it.
Yeah, when you speak of Ja's injury, I read something. They were 10-2 when Ja was out. That's pretty impressive, just considering he's their main scorer at 25 points per game. Like, I don't know where, like, I guess they just, I don't know. That just speaks to coaching to me. When your best player's out, and then you still, 10 wins and only 2 losses in 12 games, it's pretty impressive.
It's impressive. What's funny is I remember, though, that when he was out, they were starting there. It was a small crowd like, oh, are they better without Ja? People do that whole thing.
No. Yeah. I saw that, too. I'm like,
and then he was a defensive liability. That's why they were better defensively when he was gone. That entire thing, I was like, come on, yeah.
Yeah, no, they need to chill out with that because he's still your cornerstone franchise. He's clearly a franchise player.
Yeah,
and he clearly. I guess he watches the my voice cracked a little bit. Yeah. I guess he watches the podcast. I guess he watches the podcast or something because we've been saying this probably for the last 5 to 6 months. We want him to be a better scorer of basketball, and he's clearly improved on that. That was our only problem with his game.
Literally, like there was no issue with the passing. There was no issue with the leadership. Like he came in from day one looking like an amazing leader for this team. And he was like ready to take the reins, with that role. And then you talk about more aggression on the scoring standpoint. A lot of that I think is due to what Steven Adams is what he's been able to do. Great screen setting. He's doing a great job of setting guys up from the top of the key. I feel like he makes their offense a little bit easier to run, compared to Valanciunas. And that's no insult to Valanciunas. He's a great big guy. We see what he was able to do and what he's able to do in New Orleans. Kind of fell off a little bit with the Pels over the last couple of games or whatever, but he's not a bad player. But I think Adams just makes a lot more sense because I think he's a great passer. As I mentioned, he sets guys up, gives guys a lot of easy looks, great screen setter. Ja's made, him, when they're getting that pick and roll, like Ja's took perfect advantage of that. He's able to get into the paint a lot easier than I've seen him do it before. And then there's also the 3-point shooting. This was a guy we really questioned the shooting from distance. In this season, we're seeing him shoot it nearly 40% from 3. That's really, really impressive. Like we're seeing him go from like 18, 19 a game or whatever it was the previous years to 25, and maybe more at the end of the season. So it's amazing to see a guy like this hoop at this level. And yeah, man.
Yeah, when the season started off, we saw him have a 10-point increase. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
It was 19 to 30.
Yeah.
I was like, man, ain't no way he can keep this up. But he's definitely been keeping it up. And I think he's going to end the season probably at 27. I can see that happening.
I can see
27 and a half. Yeah.
For sure. I could definitely see it happening, and we talk about him, but there, like I said, there are guys around him who make it easier. Desmond Bane, maybe has been that front runner for most improved. It's a lot of guys out there in that conversation. I thought it was Tyrese Maxey for a second, but you look at this Memphis run, then I'm starting to sway towards the Desmond Bane crowd. But, maybe, he comes in last year. We saw the potential as a really good 3-point shooter. He shot at a really, really good percentage for a rookie. This year, we're seeing more of that plus some shot creation, and I think a lot of that we can attribute to what he was able to do in the summer league. During the summer league, he comes in, he's got the ball in his hands a lot more. He's getting to the rack. He's not just sitting out there on the wing, wing or at the top of the key and just waiting for the ball to come to him so he can shoot, long balls. But we're seeing a great variation now in his game, and I think that makes it a lot easier on Ja. I remember us wondering, like, okay, who's your second option on this team? Do we trust Dillon Brooks to be that guy? Is it Jaren Jackson? But, him and Ja and Desmond Bane have established this really good looking backcourt. You know what I mean? I didn't think we really predicted this. I thought we just knew Bane to be like we thought his ceiling was like a really good 3-and-D player, but he's showing he's a little bit more than that. So, a lot of shout outs to their role players. Jaren Jackson isn't at his best efficiency wise, but he's still playing some great basketball. He may be on par with how I feel like people thought he was going to make this major, like he's going to get to like 20 a game. Cause remember people were saying he was the top candidate for that most improved player award. And then now he's like 16. The efficiency is not what it was in his best season, but still he's been great. Defensively he's been great as well. He's one of their better defenders. So shout out to all those Grizzlies role players. Guys been playing at a very, very high level.
Yeah, one dude on the team that I thought was going to take a bigger step. He's been playing okay. He's averaging like close to like 9 points. Was Brandon Clark. I thought he was going to. I thought he was like going to be. I don't know. Maybe John Collins comparison not good enough. I mean, but that's kind of what I thought he was going to be. Like I thought he was going to slowly but surely, like over the next 2 or 3 years, I thought he was going to climb his points up to like 15.
Yeah,
and probably max out at like 17 to 18.
Yeah, no, sure.
I could see because he has a talent too. They're very similar how they play. They athletic. And you can, if they want them to stretch the floor and shoot a little bit, they can do that. That's not what they do, but they can do it. If that makes sense.
That's true. No, I remember Ja's rookie season. I remember it was him and Brandon Clark, and like I remember I was like, oh God,
pick and roll.
But I remember Brandon Clark like showing flat. I'm like, oh, maybe this is the next Grizzlies duo or whatever. It was really too early to tell at that point. And then he's not been bad, but then it's just kind of like as pieces have come in and as guys have been on the team a little bit. As stuff that started going on, we've seen less of him. He's still a really good role player off the bench, but I think I did expect him to have more of just a role player type of a role with this team. I thought he was going to be like a starter. I thought he was going to be around, as you mentioned, that 15-point a game mark or whatever. But it seems like as those guards have gotten better, and like Dillon Brooks and Desmond Bane, he made it push to the back burner a little bit more. But
that probably kind of messed up his growth a little bit.
Progress.
Desmond Bane playing that well. So that definitely probably because I remember they're both their rookie years. I'm like, this dude catching alley-oops, dunking on people. I'm like, uh-oh. They might have something on a nice little pick and roll game.
Yeah, like year one, he's 12 a game on 62% shooting and 36 from three with like 6.
Now it's 8.8 points a game.
Yeah, and the field goal percentage, he gets high percentage shots, but he's great. Like I said, he's a great role player. But you look at those first year numbers, we expect him more than just a role player. But he's doing what he's asked to do, and it's great to see guys buy in. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing young guys buy in. There's no ego on this team. They're like there's none of that. Guys are buying into the system, and they know. Yeah. They want to go out there and win games and be a little bit more than just a young team that's continuously on the quote unquote development path,
Yeah. It's just such a Memphis thing for them. I don't know if that makes sense because you said it's no ego, but it's just like it's in Memphis. So it's just like they're just, they're not comparable to us in St. Louis or whatever, but it's just like, I don't know. I feel like we have comparisons to Memphis, just the way the city just operates. It's just, I don't know. It's just the middle of the pack city.
Yeah.
But, people respect it though. I guess that's what I'm saying. Say it like that.
That's exactly what it is. It's a straight middle of the pack city, but if you go there, you're going to get a really competitive game. And it's been that way. Even when they've had absolutely nobody on their roster, you knew like there were some Grizzlies teams where the roster just looked bad and they still managed to be playoff level teams.
Who coached that team? Dave Yeager. He coached. Remember times he coached that team. That team probably had no business being that competitive, and they almost made the playoffs. I forgot who was on the team. Yeah, because I don't think Conley was on there.
Conley had to be on there, but I don't remember. Yeah, but there wasn't a lot else there. He probably was only elite player there. Yeah, and then but you said it, that's the Memphis identity, like I said, underrated, bunch of guys who are just hungry, guys who want to prove themselves. And that what's funny to me is I remember there being so many veterans who had an opportunity to go play for Memphis, and they said, I don't want to do it. Andre Iguodala. Imagine if Iguodala was still on this team, how probably much better they'd be, having a veteran like him in the locker room. Then there was also Eric Bledsoe. Remember, he ended up getting traded there over the offseason, and he ended up getting shipped away again. Yeah, was he in Memphis? Was he traded?
Yeah, I think so. They ain't missing him though. I don't really think they ain't missing him. He even played for every damn team in the damn league, bro.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, but Iguodala, I don't know. They definitely made them mad. You can tell that
You can tell.
Because I was like, bro, just play. What are you doing? He really that show you how the league is now. You can really just sabotage your way out of where you playing and just go somewhere.
Yeah, like I'm just not gonna play here, But like I said, I can't get mad because like relatively Golden State is a better team to be on than Memphis, but it motivated those guys to like see all these guys come in, like, and you're noticing they're saying they don't want to play or whatever. That shows like these vets, like it's like, oh, these vets think they don't trust us as players and they don't trust our development or whatever. We finna show y'all. It was that type of thing. Like Ja even came out and said that. Like Ja said something like y'all are sleeping on us or whatever it was that came out of his mouth. And they're doing what they're doing. So it's great to see the steady incline. Over so from year one under Ja up to now. And like I said, I mean, shout out, you mentioned the coach, another guy who I think the players really gravitate towards with Taylor Jenkins. They love what he's doing. So yeah,
I didn't want to get his name wrong. I was about to say Taylor Jenkins, but I wasn't sure that was right.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just strike me as a team that plays great team basketball, like a college team or something, if that makes sense. Like it's really, it's really like, I don't know. It seems like the way they're playing the game, it's a coach's game instead of a player's game, because they just play as a team. It's not a bad team. It's just they just play as a team, if that makes sense.
Buy-in. That's all it is. And so many people talk about it, and a lot of movement, there's not a lot of stagnation, and there's like I said, a lot of that personally, man, I really attribute to what Adams is there for. Like we straight up predicted this. We can go back to that pie we did around September. We got like 200 views on this one. It was one of our better performing videos where we said one of the more underrated signings in the offseason was Steven Adams to Memphis, and we're seeing the impact early. The passing and the defensive identity that he does bring to the table, the physicality down low, some of the experience. Not a great shooter, not a big that you probably think would still be impactful in the league today because we're so used to seeing those bigs who can go out there and switch on shorter players, or those bigs who can go out there and shoot. He's not a major offensive talent, but he does his job at a very, very high level, so you love to see it. And he's one of the few vets on this team, and so he's giving them a lot of value, early on throughout the year.
Yeah, people say he like the strongest dude in the league. Like I'm not even kidding. Like everybody says he's strong as hell.
Yeah, that helps a little bit too. That helps the team just a little.
His screens be looking like they hurt, bro. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
But they be running into brick walls.
But that shows you how the smallest parts of the game impact the game so much. It's a joke. Like if you say a dude is a good screen setter, if I say that, somebody out there gonna start laughing. But that actually plays a major role. And that's been one of the reasons why I think Ja's been a little more effective, is because I think a lot with that having that pick and roll and that level of variation in your offense, having that in your game has done so much for Ja. I'm not saying Adams is the reason why Ja's playing at a higher level, because he can't explain why, why Ja's shooting at a higher percentage from three. But the smallest parts of the game that people don't pay attention to leave a huge impact. When you are a great screen setter, a coach is going to put you on the floor because you're going to free up easier shots and all of that.
Like Draymond Green, he's a great screen setter. He basically, I'm not saying Steph wouldn't be what he is without him, but he helps Steph elevate his game. Like,
that's true. Yeah. That's true. That separates the casual from just like a person who really admires the game. Is you recognize when dudes are so good at doing certain things on the court. Draymond is the perfect example. I think Draymond Green, if we want to classify him as a role player, he's a top 5 role player ever because he just does his job at a high level. Dennis Rodman is kind of that guy too. You're not asking him to come in and do the sexy stuff like scoring at a high level or whatever, but he rebounds. He rebounds, plays defense, hustles. We love, basketball fans say they love that type of stuff, but then don't recognize when a dude comes in and just makes an impact that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. You know what I mean? And that's the part of the game where you kind of have to ignore analytics and just look at the court and be like, okay, well, I'm looking at Steven Adams. The numbers aren't really popping off the charts, but he's still being effective in doing what he needs to do. So shout out to him.
Yeah, I'll say this for the longest. Stats don't mean everything. They mean a lot. But sometimes, like a lot of things, they just don't show up in the stat sheet, like they say, especially with Draymond, because you look at his stats. Oh, he had like 8 points. He had 8 rebounds and maybe 8 assists. Oh, he didn't really have that good of a game. But if you look how he had those 8 assists and where they came from on the court and how they produced the points, you will see.
If you that's straight up how much you admire the game of basketball, you're able to recognize that type of stuff, and you just love to see those guys do it. So a lot of credit to Adams, one of the more underrated bigs in the NBA, just with how his teammates love him and how he comes in and he impacts the game. But like I said, a lot of shout out to Ja, who I think is without a doubt, not without a doubt, I can't say he's going to be a starter, but he's without a doubt an all-star this season, and he is within that top 5 of the MVP conversation. I got